Okay, I do want to continue talking about the governor's race. I know big news shook up the race this week. Senator Amy Klobuchar has jumped in. What's your response to that?
Yeah, when we look at that, when I first entered the race, Governor Walz was the person that was running at the time. And I had said all along that I didn't know if he was truly going to be on the ballot. I just didn't think he would make it all the way. Well, clearly, with the fraud that is so prevalent in Minnesota, and that has happened under his watch, he is not the candidate. No matter if it is Amy Klobuchar, as we've been told now, or if there would even be another change. Amy Klobuchar is a Walz third term. There is no difference between them. She has supported Governor Walz in his run for reelection. She has absolutely supported him in the time that he was running for vice president. She even supported President Biden when it was clearly that his cognitive ability was failing, and she supported him. So Amy Klobuchar running in the race for governor of Minnesota is just going to be a Tim Walz third term.
Speaker, I don't need to tell you, there hasn't been a Republican in your state that's won a statewide election in 2 decades. And Governor Walz, he's been embroiled in this fraud scandal, him as well as his entire government. That would make him a weak candidate, right? Do you think it hurts Republicans that he's out and now Senator Klobuchar is in because she's removed from this fraud scandal since this involves state government and she's a senator?
Well, the fraud in Minnesota does definitely involve state government and state funds, but it also involves federal dollars. And so, as a Minnesotan and serving in Senate, she has never come out and said anything to protect Minnesota taxpayers at all from the fraud that's gone on. There is no light between her and Governor Walz. She's never come against anything that has happened. And Brittany, our kids here in the state of Minnesota, not only do we have record fraud, but our kids in the state of Minnesota, only half of them can read at grade level. We do have the record fraud. You see the chaos in our streets. She has never come out and spoken against what has happened here in our state.
Do you think then, based on what you're saying about the fraud, based on what you're saying about Klobuchar would be just a Walz third term, is she culpable for the fraud that has really embroiled your state?
I think Governor Walz, under his leadership, is responsible for it to go on this long. When I think about it, there have been Office of Legislative Auditor reports that have come out for the different agencies and different programs over years that have said there needs to be better internal controls. Well, Governor Walz has never fired a single commissioner after all of this fraud. So think back to Feeding Our Future was the largest COVID era feeding our future, feeding kids that supposedly needed it, fraud in the country. $250 million of fraud that was proven in that. No commissioners have lost their jobs. So Governor Walz has allowed this to go on and to explode under his time. When I became Speaker of the House a year ago, so you're right, there hasn't been a Republican governor for almost 20 years. But when I became Speaker of the House, we took a tie. And so I established the Fraud Prevention and Agency Oversight Committee to shine a light on the amount of fraud that was here in the state of Minnesota. I had carried my very first bill that would have put in an internal control for child care centers with just daily attendance records. I dropped that bill and had that in 2019. Now, my party was in the minority. I couldn't even get a hearing on the bill. And so when you think about it, fraud has been either ignored or covered up or both for years. After I became Speaker, establishing that fraud committee has been helpful. We had a viral video that went nationwide and worldwide, done by Nick Shirley at the end of December, that really no one could ignore fraud here in the state anymore. But I think the problem that has been is Minnesotans maybe didn't know to the extent of how much it was. But now that they know, they're ready for a change. We already knew that Minnesotans voters wanted a change when they even sent a tie back to the House in 2024. So this is a very good year for change, and I'm ready for that.
I'm curious because my question was about how Klobuchar is responsible there. And I heard a lot of Walz, but not about Senator Klobuchar. And in her campaign video, she said she's against fraud, too. And as an attorney, she was going to root it out. So what do you say when you hear her say that? I mean, what's your response to that?
Yeah, it's interesting the wording she chose is she's against fraud. I think everybody should be against fraud. It has been widely known and she's never spoken against it. Never once. And so this is all of the same. You think of even the social issues that talking with families across the state of Minnesota, she doesn't support keeping girls only in girls' sports. That is something, as I've talked to parents that have had kids in sports and they've got daughters in sports in high school, that is something she absolutely doesn't support. She has supported every bit of the Biden policies that have opened our borders in the past and allowed illegal immigrants to come forward, which is why we're seeing the problems here in Minnesota with the influx of criminal illegal immigrants that are here in the state. Governor Walz made our state not a sanctuary state, but a magnet, giving free things to those that are here illegally. And Senator Klobuchar has never said a single thing about it.